Okay, so I'm going to show you 3 Betfair trading strategies that actually work here, along with 3 examples so you can understand them properly and then implement them yourself. We'll make about £45 in the next 10 minutes or so with minimal risk, so take your time to absorb everything here and maybe watch it back twice because it's a really useful one, starting with the first example. So looking at the historical pricing, the one that stands out here is Planned Paradise, right? I'm highlighting it on the screen, and that's because it's gone from 9 to 1 all the way in to 5 to 1, and it wasn't expected to be the favourite in this race. It is a fairly competitive market, which makes it a bit interesting. But the question here really is, is there going to be additional support for Planned Paradise, or is it going to stall, in which case, when it's a competitive market, then it will bounce back. So now we're approaching the live window where the most money flows into the market inside that last 4 minutes. This is sort of the point of no return. This is the point where things pick up proper. Just highlighting on the market overview, there's a few moves there. If I realign the ladders, you'll see we've got Planned Paradise in the favourite column. It's hitting the 6.0, also probably beneficial if we're looking for a bounce back. But the rest of the runners are fairly stagnant. Now, they've drifted a little, but you see that there has been some money for them and there is a little bit of resistance there. So at this point in time, I'm feeling that, I'm feeling more bullish about a bounce back out in the price action rather than this horse to come on steaming. But I want to be certain on that. That's, so is this going to break the 6.0 resistance? You see me putting a couple of potential exits in there if it bounces back. But really, I don't actually know for certain right now which direction I'm going to trade this in. We're very short-term trading, but I'm looking to trade an overreaction in the market where the market is relatively stable and solid, which you can see from the other runners. So it's testing that 6.0. It's tested it a couple of times. You can see the dark green bars. There has been money matched there, couple of grand, not a huge amount in the grand scheme of things. But I think that this is the point where, I'll test the waters, I'll get in a little bit on smaller stakes, and hopefully we'll start to see the price turn in an alternate direction as the others attract support inside the live show. Okay, so the dark green bars on the other 3 on the columns you can see there on the ladders, just highlighting my cursor, show that there's obviously a little bit more money getting matched on those 2 now. So the market's more active. And this may be that I need to dump this really quick if it rips through the 6.0 for any real movement. So I'm hovering over at the 5.7 there. If it gets down there, I'm going to look at getting out of this. But there is that resistance, and again, lovely. Just seen it on the second and third runners there. Did you see that? Highlighted that with the cursor. That was more money coming in on those in terms of support. So now we're starting to see that point of indecision. And here we go. So this is where the overreaction has bounced back. Lovely. And then them stakes just get matched fairly quickly. So that happened really quick. You might want to go back and re-watch that recording. But that was 23 quid in just a few seconds. And all it was an overreaction close to the start when it wasn't totally obvious to the market that was going to happen. And I would assume that probably a lot of new traders would look at that and go, oh, it's gone from 9 to 1 into 5 to 1. It's just going to keep on going. But prices can't carry on going forever. It's already gone a significant move and halved in price. So that was never going to continue easily. So it's one of those situations where it's more likely to move further in one direction than the other. So the horses are done at the start. We'll move on to the next example, which is the second example, where I want to show you something a bit different here. We're 5 minutes down to the start, and there's a good example of breaking support in the market here. So again, looking at the price historically, it looks like a pretty mediocre market. Second, third, fourth, fifth, they've all come in slightly, although nothing overly notable. And the favourites held its position at 6 to 4 from where it was initially in the market. So this is kind of like one of those markets where, I look at this initially and there's not really a lot going on. It's not that exciting. So I think that the way to approach this one is going to be to trade the market momentum and the traded volumes as they filter into the market as things pan out. Now, a couple of the outside runners are coming a little bit, although there's not a substantial volume behind them. So that's why it's not as significant. Quick scan of the course down at the start there to see if they're lining up yet. They're not in the parade ring proper. So there's no rush here. There's plenty of time until this market really picks up, which probably a lot of people struggle to get their head around that because there's only 4 minutes down to the start. It may even go off late too. So just seeing here, short term, the price has bounced out a little, and yeah, it's probably quite likely the price is going to bounce back in. So just small stakes, nothing to get too excited about. Put at the top of the range there. So basically, this favourite has drifted out, hit the top of its range almost, in a market where it's been holding its price and it's fairly thin. So I don't want to get too overcommitted to this on too big a stake. So just 150 quid, that'll do. But I think that there's going to be a short correction in the price there because it's bounced out. It was pushed out because a couple of the other runners had a small amount of money coming in, and we may need to dump that. We may need to dump that position, but I'm not too worried about that right now. Horses going down to the start. Obviously, you can see there at the track, and a little bit of money is building up here. Now you can see his traded volumes. So it's like a momentum point. So it's probably going to go whichever way it goes. It's probably going to go for a handful of ticks. So 4 or 5 ticks. So if it starts to go against us, I'm going to dump that really quick, which is why I'm hovering over the ladder there. But it looks like it's just going to sustain its position, and we're on the right side of it there because we're at the top of the range. So not huge trade or anything to get really excited about. Oh, that's nice there. We'll look at getting some of this money out now, just because this was just super short term, and it was just a case of the price is more likely to go in one direction than the other, and obviously there's more upside in one direction than there is in the other. So manage the downside, as they say, managing the risk. Hedge that there for a very small profit. Not really that excited about this market, if I'm honest. And it's fun to do that because I say this, and I say it over and over, but people don't tend to see how important it is. And at this point in time, I'm wondering if the price is going to carry on a bit further. But the point I was going to make is it's not always what you do, it's what you don't do. So if you're not sure, don't get involved because it's managing the risk. But I think the temptation is to feel like you've got to continually trade, which sort of messes with your mind. The price is ebbing and flowing here, but there's not any really massively solid trends that are playing out in front of us right now. There's nothing to get excited about, even though the market's moving. I'm just going to scalp out a couple of extra ticks, hopefully. Although the market's moving and bouncing around, it's ebbing and flowing, and there's not a distinct trend to exploit and trade here. So I'm a little bit nervous about this here, just a little bit edgy because the price is bouncing around, and all I'm trying to do is just, there we go. We'll hedge up there. We'll exit our position, because what's the point in being in the market if we're not certain we're not very strongly opinionated in one direction? And it's gone back out. There's no real reason for this. It's just because it's a very short price. There's a lot going on. Prices are bouncing around. And so it's fine to skip that one out and take just 8 quid. But 8 quid's 8 quid. At the end of the day, if there's 20, 30 races in a day, 8 quid starts to add up, obviously being tax-free a lot quicker. So nothing too exciting about that race, nothing to report. But short-term momentum trading beyond the long-term trends can be quite profitable too, especially when there's more liquidity on bigger events and you can use larger stakes to scalp out some extra profit. Just putting a quick 50 through the market there, or trying to, by the looks of it. I might have to actually hedge that as they come down to the start of the race. But literally just sucking up the money flowing into the market, because you can see that it's flowing into the market a lot quicker there. So fully hedged for 9 quid down at the start of the race. So if we move on to example number 3, we've got a race at Catterick with a very short price favourite down at 1.90 here, and a little bit more time to build up our opinion. So you can see the traded volumes coming in there, charts at the bottom there, and I'm more interested, if you see with the bit that I'm highlighting, I'm more interested in the price action in line with the volumes that have come in there. So the early part of the chart I'm almost disregarding. So we've got 7 minutes, we've got plenty of time. Looking at the historical prices on the Racing Post, you can see that generally not many of them have gone a massive move. Now I'm aware that Hourless is a front runner, or likely to be a front runner in this race, from the front runner shortlist over on Caanberry.com, but there's nothing to get too excited here. The race type in this instance is also a novice race. Just changing over the streams there. What's happened down on course? Oh, I think we've got the right race there. There we go. Changing over to the Catterick race. But just trying to see what's happened in different places. So the live shows, obviously the prices on track. Has anything changed significantly there? 8 to 11, 4 to 5. 7-2 and 3-1. So, half a point movement tops in most cases. So nothing exciting. But the race type is a juvenile race. If I bring up the ladders here, then obviously you can see that there's a low amount of money traded on this race. And that's because it's a low quality race. So the market is likely to be a bit more skittish, a bit more volatile. It's not going to be so easy to use larger stakes. I'm interested if a significant amount of volume comes into the market on one runner in particular, because it will heavily impact the market. Now, just put some lay stakes in the market there, and the price has bounced in. I think it's just short term, so I just want to exit that because that was almost a bit of a mistake. So, well, it was a mistake, to be honest. Don't want to be trading too early, and so hedge that position there. But the ones of interest here, it looks like the favourite will be the one that I'll trade because it's the one that's going to have the most volume on it, and I don't want to end up overexposed. I want to be able to exit my position, and I want their money to exit my position against. Yeah, I don't want to get caught out chasing the price well away from me at a sort of price range of 10.0 because I'll end up in hot water quite quickly if that happens. So I'm adapting and evolving to the situation rather than trying to trade every situation the same, which is very, very important. A lot of newbie traders mess that up. Now, in this instance, obviously, like I said, hourless is one that interests me right down at the start of the race. But here, I'm just trying to sort of build up the picture on what's actually going on between the different sources of streaming information, because as information changes late, so do the prices, and I want to go with that and trade that action. So at this point in time, there's nothing too appealing. 4 minutes and under is where the major volumes start to come into the market. Interesting little dive in the prices there. Do you see what I mean? How, because it's a thin market, such a small amount of money can really push the prices quickly. That bounce would have been nice to have caught at the bottom there with that lay stake, but obviously it was a little bit late on that one. So this is a very reactive style of trading. It's a strategy where I'm basically just exploiting the edges as money comes into the market. Now, you can catch some real fat fingers with this stuff sometimes, and the price goes crazy to where it shouldn't, and you can get huge profit very quickly. But you've got to be decisive and reactive and react quite quickly. So at this point in time, I think really that those lay positions have put them their potential exits. I'm interested in how the second favourite is affecting the favourite's price, because when one goes down, the other one's going out. But also in these markets where it's quite thin and volatile like this, the price bands actually make more of a difference. So I think I'm going to trade the favourite's price coming in here, if possible, on some low stakes. But if that second favourite gets closer to the 4.0, I actually fancy it for a bounce back, because there'll be resistance in the market from other traders that want to lay around that price. It'll obviously be at the bottom of its traded range if that happens. And that looks more interesting for that. And also, it's got the thin market vibes on our side, as I've already said previously. You can see more money pouring in on the favourite there, so a little bit of a missed opportunity there. If I didn't, I should have got that earlier stake match. But it looks like the favourite's mildly. I say mildly. I don't want to say it's strong, because it's not like it's a gamble or anything. But there is some support for the favourite here. It's just the short price is quite off-putting in terms of backing it too heavily. So what I'd really like to see short term right now is for the favourite to bounce out a little, the second favourite to come in, and then I can jump on both of those positions in the alternate direction. So it's a case of sort of sitting on my hands, being patient and picking the right time for it, whilst also balancing up the volumes that are flowing into the market, because they really dictate what's going on here, and I'm reacting to those. So I'm hanging around there. I think I'll probably get into the market here. 2 minutes to the start. There's a little bit of resistance, just looking at that lay money there. Here we go. So this is what we wanted to happen. Now I'll probably want to lay the second and back the favourite as they bounce back. And there's still support coming for the favourite. That's the third. The third has kind of put the cat amongst the pigeons here as well, because the third has come in, and I thought maybe that would just be stagnant, so it'd be more of a two-horse trading market. So happy enough to lay the second there briefly, and then probably getting up the top here. If we can get in at 1.85 or higher, that would be great on the favourite. So just managing the second favourite's position there. We'll back the favourite, because despite the short-term volatility pushing the price out, yeah, we've just witnessed for the last few minutes that this favourite has been supported. So, is it a question of all of a sudden everybody's decided that this horse is now no good? I don't think so. That's quite unlikely. But really, because we've got two positions open here, I'm trying to manage two different ladders. So hedged up for £4 on the second favourite. Getting close to the start now, obviously inside the last minute, and starting to test this this price range at the top a little bit. That bounce back. Horses down at the start, just highlighting that on the screen there. Don't want to get caught in play. Not on the one that I don't want to be on anyway. And yeah, I think we'll have to dump the position there because there's only 30 seconds or so left. So bit of a shame that hasn't bounced back because you can just feel it. I mean, look at the traded volumes in the market pushing down. You can just feel that it wants to come back down, and it may well ping all the way back down to sort of 1.73 at the bottom of its traded range, because that's what happens in these low quality, volatile markets. But you need to be a lot more reactive when trading those. You can see the traded volumes along the bottom on the favourite there. It's been fairly stable whole time throughout. Now, the one that I said about previously was a front runner, Hourless, on the front runners shortlist. Should be one that I'll focus on in a second as well. Just was looking for a bounce there for some reason, but this doesn't seem to be going our way right now. It's tested the bottom there. There it is, bounced back. But we've not got long to the start of this race, so the twitchy position here is not wanting to get overexposed in the short term with some volatility when really the race is about to go off. So hedge up our position there. So we're on, was it £9.42 profit in total? And if we just switch over to Hourless to see if it's going to be a front runner in this race, to switch styles and basically jump on another trading style just before the start. So the idea is that we back the horse right at the start and then hedge up as the race starts and it bounds into the lead. So I'm offering a price there, just highlighting it on the screen. I had that on my second screen so I could see that the whole time, but just bringing that over for you on the recording. So we need to get some money matched at the top of its range if we can with Hourless there. As it bounds into the lead, hopefully we'll nick a few ticks. Sometimes you can nick a huge amount of ticks when this happens at the start of a race, and basically sort of get on at 7.0 and hedge up a position down at 5 or something in a matter of seconds, just because the horse bounds out in front and takes the lead. So I'm going to bring the stakes down really small to £10 here because it doesn't look like an awesome opportunity. Backed at 7.6 into the market there. The race has just gone in play. The horses have started. The horse Hourless has gone into the lead. And so I'm going to start hedging up my position down at 6.6 and 6.4. So that was nearly a whole point's move in a matter of seconds. It's just the real shame is that we couldn't have done it for large stakes in such a situation without creating extra risk. And you can see, look, there you go, the horse is gone into the lead proper now and is trading down at 5.0. So that would have been a massive move, but obviously hindsight is a great thing. And I didn't want to take the risk, and I wouldn't advise that you do too either. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.